So what I'm about to say is probably going to be a little controversial, but welcome to Poem-versations with Icon. If you haven't been here or are new to this channel, I'm Icon, and this is Poem-versations, meaning I'm a poet, I'm an artist, and I'm going to be sharing some of my artistry along with just real raw conversation. This channel is raw, no edits, no filters, no aesthetics. As you can see behind me right now, I have just a plain blank wall because that's where the lighting was best where I am right now. If you've seen the channel before, you know what it's about. If not, I'll give you a little introduction afterwards, but I just want to get into the meat of it. So I'm gonna start off with a poem as promised. I've been meaning to share a poem for the longest on all the other videos, and so we're finally here. Poem-versations was inspired by India Ari's Song-versations. As you know, she's been hot in the press lately. And so she had an album called Song-versation, but little do people know, she also had a podcast called Song-versations, where she sang or gave the lyrics to some of her songs, and then she talked about the backstory. A lot of times we hear artists work and we don't get to hear the backstory of like how that song came about or what different lines in the song meant. And so I thought it was a really cool concept, and as a poet and singer-songwriter myself, I thought it'd be interesting just to do that version with poems. So shout out to India Ari for the idea, and I'll get into more of that later. But without further ado, we're going to read the poem and then have a little conversation, hence Poem-versations. The name of this poem is Know Better, Do Better, because as the old folks say, when you know better, you do better, right? In all this time, I thought it was them that I didn't trust. Let them tell me that feeling I had deep down in my gut was just the bruises left from the kind, loving fist that came before them. Even convinced myself the same. Even when I saw their once open hand go full clench. Turned my cheek, but the sucker punch landed anyway, right square in my intuition. Screamed as they walked away, leaving me to nurse my own broken ribs, always saying to myself, I already saw it coming. Painted the first red flag my favorite color green, painted everyone after that yellow instead of uprooting them all together. But no one wants to hear the wincing or the whining of a girl covered in band-aids. They will just call her clumsy, say something must be wrong with her for bleeding so much. See, we humans do not like to look down at our own bruised knuckles, never like to take accountability for the bloody work of our own hands. Too many times I have been distracted from the slaughter by magic trick, by rabbit out of the hat, by expensive costume, by gifts and good deeds. Too many times they have replaced the person they introduced or seduced me to with a ghost, then told me I was seeing things. Caught my common sense out of its name, called it jealous and insecure, like they ain't changed their own name from liar to too good to be true. And all this time, I thought it was them that I didn't trust. Like my body ain't been with me all these lifetimes, protecting and warning me of impending danger. Like my fight or flight ain't tell me to jet the fuck up out of there the first time. Like I ain't hear my racing heart telling me to run. Like my belly ain't been bloated with bullshit. Like this should have been the time I bit the hand that caressed me at night. Like that fluttering feeling in my stomach wasn't butterflies, but instead was the muscles bracing themselves for a blow that I know I already felt coming ever since. Hello. So as I stated before, the name of that poem was No Better, Do Better, and it is actually from my first collection of poetry called My Name is Pronounced Holy, which was released actually in 2021. It's My Name is Pronounced Holy, a collection of poems, prayers, rememberings, and reclamations. I'll put the link below if you would like to purchase a copy. But yeah, that poem came to me to share because there's been this conversation that's been going on social media, and I had to think about my own, I guess, experiences, my own transition into realizing how much power and control I have over my own experiences. And this is not to negate or take away from people who just moving evil out here in this world and taking advantage of folks. But it is to say that I believe in, I guess, metaphysically, us not being victims necessarily, but also having the power to call in experiences that we want to experience. Right? So the conversation that was being had on Facebook, I saw a couple of people post about it, were in these Black women groups talking about how it's Black women's responsibility to start taking accountability just for who and what we let into our lives. And it's up to us also to start being the change that changes what our entire community looks like. If you ain't no Black woman and you engaging in this conversation, please click off this video and go find you something safe to do. Okay? But yes, this can go for most people, but I'm speaking specifically, like I said the last video, I can't speak for all people. I can only speak to an experience of a Black woman because that is my experience. But yeah, I'm gonna dig deeper into that conversation, but that's where it started from. And a lot of the comments in the conversations were people, or Black women particularly, looking at that post, which came from another Black woman, and automatically thinking that it was placing the blame on Black women for everything, for the state of the Black community, thinking that, you know, placing blame on Black women for conditions that she's also, or we have also found ourselves in. And I think people didn't read between the lines of what was actually being said. And it was actually about self-empowerment. Because if we wait on everybody else to make the change, everybody's like, oh, that's why everything got to be put on Black women. We've been doing all the work since then. And it's like, yeah, we've been doing the work since then. But what part of the work that needs to be done, we've been doing the defensive work. The offensive work is not putting ourselves in certain situations in the first place. For example, people gonna miss, I'm not making no excuses for how I'm saying this. I'm saying it. Read between the lines, take from it what you will. If you get offended, if the shoe fit, or if, like I always tell people, I hope it hurts your feet, because it's hurting mine, because I also have had to take accountability for the same thing. Because at some point, we have to not sit back and wait on somebody else to make the change. As the mothers, as the matriarchs, as the first God a child ever knows, it is, we are the leaders. I know a lot of people see the man as the lead, but in the words of one of my favorite movies, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, when the mama told the girl, the man may be the head, but the woman is the neck, and she could turn the head any which way she wants to. And when we think about the movie Chirac, which was based on, what was the play? I'm gonna forget the play. It's gonna come back to me. But where, is it like listeria or something? I might be naming a whole bacteria out here, but you know what I'm talking about. Where the women withheld sex in order to stop the men from warring. And it just showed the power of the womb, the power of women's sexuality, the power of women, period. And I think once we remember that power, it could change the entire shift in trajectory of the world. So into the idea of Poem-versations, like I said, this was inspired by India Ari's Song-versation, where she shared a song. She would share songs, and then she would go back and kind of explain where the poem or where the song originated. So I'm going to do that with the poem. So No Better, Do Better came from heartbreak, of course, right? It's all those times when we have looked at that other person and like pointed the finger, but never sat down and said, I knew something was off with that shit from jump, but we glossed over it and like saw all the red flags, but we made an excuse. I could think of just about every relationship I had that went really sour and funky real bad. When I go back in hindsight, which is the 2020, right? Sometimes 2030, you be seeing more than what was there. I can say, dang, I knew from when I first met that person, I saw them, or it was something they did or something they said that made me say, and kind of take a pause. But then I convinced myself that my intuition was wrong, right? And every single time I did that, my intuition kicked me right back in the ass. Like, girl, I've been with you. I know what's up. I'm trying to protect you. You, however, are seeing what your body wants, what your loneliness wants, what your insecurity wants, right? And then we allow these people into our lives, and then want to solely blame it on them when we've seen or felt the things all along. Because women have this power that men really don't have, which is why most men be needing a woman, or why everybody needs a woman around, is we have this thing called intuition, where we be knowing something is up. We can feel it. You know, that woman that be like, babe, don't go there. I got a feeling that ain't, you know. Or when your mama say, don't go there, I got a feeling something ain't right about that. And then something happens, or y'all find out it was, you know, something happened with your friends if you didn't go to that place. So yeah, that's where the poem really came from. It was just like all those times I've overlooked the red flag. All those times I've allowed myself to be seduced by what somebody said or what they brought to the table, and just overlooked all the things. And again, that's not to say that there aren't those times where there are people who are really great at being wolves in sheep's clothing. But it's also our responsibility to do as much as we can to protect ourselves, right? Being cognizant of who we laying down with, who we procreating with, being proactive and demanding about what our communities look like, what we allow in our communities, what we allow our children to be exposed to, what we allow people to do to us and do to our children. And I would like to believe that we're just not some frail damsels in distress waiting for somebody to come and save us. Because as we've seen before, ain't nobody coming to save us. It's us that's got to save us. So if we keep taking offense to somebody telling us how powerful we are, then what are we really saying? Are we saying, like, I'm not that powerful? Are we saying we need black men or white men or the government or anybody else to save us? We've seen how that has gone plenty of times before. When the government said it was coming to save us, it gave us something that, I'm not going to give the argument, took men out of the households, but there's always a tactic with everything, quote unquote, free that they call themselves giving us. And so, yeah, I do believe that we are the neck that turns the head. And so, yeah, this poem was one. And then I said, sometimes we know right off the bat. You know how they say a woman knows immediately if she going to give a man some play. You also know if that man going to play you. And you be feeling it. You know better. Another thing that I've realized, too, is in my healing journey, and this is something we don't like to talk about because we don't want to take nothing away, right? When I was, even if you Christian, not Christian, whatever, like the Bible say fast and pray. Now, I don't subscribe to any whatever kind of organized situation, but I do believe in fasting and focusing. I'm going to say that, whether you call it meditating, praying, fasting, and being intentional. And when I've taken away those things that cloud my judgment, like alcohol, like excessive food eating, things that just block up the energy portals in my body, I'm unable to think as straight and to make wise decisions. But so much clarity. I'm going to challenge anybody who's watching this video or listening. There's so much clarity that comes with fasting, with taking away the things that cloud our judgment. whatever that thing may be. If it's something you feel like you can't live without, then 9 times out of 10, that thing is blocking you from whatever it is you're trying to get to, right? And so, yeah, that's just part of my challenge, and for myself as well. We are living in a time right now where we don't have time to point fingers anymore. It's time for people to act. It's time for us to act. And I'm a big advocate for saying that you cannot change I'm not trying to change the world. I cannot change the world. We have seen too many people martyr themselves trying to change the world. We can march all day long. Does that mean they're going to stop the wars? It's a nice sentiment. It's a good whatever to put out there. But at the end of the day, the world changes by you changing yourself. That's what you got the most control over. What you put in your mouth, what you watch, what you listen to, what comes out of your mouth, what you walk into your day with intention of. And so I think if each person, what they say, sleep around your own front door, if each person takes care of their thing, then it will spill over into the people that are around you. People will start to look at you and your light and want to shine even brighter, or they will look at your light and be inspired to ask you what changes you are making. So instead of tiring yourself out, about to kill yourself, trying to save the whole doggone world, I think that conversation that was being had online was literally just challenging each woman to focus on changing and being accountable for ourselves. Because I could get mad at the food industry for all the things they put in the food, and I could also say I have a choice of what it is I'm gonna select to eat as best as possible. Now, that's not saying nothing won't slip through the cracks, but that's also saying that if I know Snickers and whatever is causing diabetes, then I might not need to be eating Snickers and whatever. I can't get mad and try to have a lawsuit against the Snickers or Hershey's company or whoever makes Snickers if I'm the person knowing and then actively engaging with it. And so that's not me fussing at nobody. That's me, as always. When I preach, I'm preaching to the choir first. I'm preaching in the pulpit to the pulpit first, and then whoever is listening, take it. As I said, always do with it what you will. And that's my spiel for today. In my poem, I finally shared a poem. I'm going to be sharing more poems, more songs, more art, more thoughts. Again, this is just a place for me to dump out my ideas, whether one person or 1 million people watch. This is me documenting my thoughts and my iconic journey, as I call it. Yeah, I don't think I have anything much more than that. This is day 2 of my 30-day posting challenge. So I'm trying to stay on it. Y'all hold me accountable. Other than that, y'all go forth, be blessed, take it, do with it what you will. Good night, good evening, good morning. See y'all in the next video.